My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody who is considered to be the black sheep of the family. So perhaps everybody else has a pretty normal life where they follow the same script or they do as is expected of them. Perhaps you are someone who has gone through a bit of a rough patch, had a little bit of a setback financially. Whatever it is, now we seem to have some sort of significant step forward with graduation day. There is things that you are putting behind you that are no longer going to be able to block you from what you're meant to do. So I do feel like some people are going to be a bit surprised by how things pick up for you. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a delightful Thanksgiving. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box for you, as is more information on how to become a member. Thank you to the current members. Also, thank you to moderators in celebration of 4 years on the channel today. If I see a moderator comment in the live chat, then I hope you all know that I'm happy to do a personal question for you at the end of the general reading. All right, let's dive in with the Pope Tarot, shall we? What else do we have? Eight of Wands, the High Priestess in the reverse, and the Five of Swords. Yeah, I think there's fast-moving energy. Somebody who has got themselves into a bit of a mess, maybe several months ago or even a couple of years ago. Now we have them being able to pick up the pieces or rearrange the situation, leave behind the things that had made it difficult to create some stability or maintain it. So the Five of Swords in the reverse is very positive. It's like, yeah, I know you probably thought that it was going to be a struggle for me, but I have taken some advice or I have looked at things in a different perspective, and now I know where to go from here. Hello, KYX. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good day. What else? Ace of Swords, Two of Wands, choosing a different path, having a greater recognition for intuition, making plans, following through, taking action on those plans. And now with the Page of Wands, we have some good news to whoever this is that has been putting in that time and effort to build a better life for themselves. Hello, I am. How are you doing? We have the World in the reverse, Ace of Cups, and the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. There's something here that felt insurmountable or not attainable. Perhaps it seemed too expensive. Perhaps it seems like you don't know the right people. Maybe you feel like you don't have the right level of experience or education. There's something here where you feel like you don't have the resource that you need, which is why we have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. But what you may lack with regards to that, you definitely make up for in terms of your tenacity or the passion that you have for this. So this could be the path that you're meant to be on or the career that you feel very drawn to. We have the King of Wands. This is why we don't pay too close attention to the gender in the tarot, because you came out initially as the Queen of Swords and now you're also coming through as the King of Wands. These are both you. Doesn't matter what your gender is. It's saying that you have figured out where you needed to build some boundaries or some fences and what you needed to pursue with a little bit more gusto, a little bit more effort. So yes, there were things that got in your way, or maybe there were people that felt like you were never going to achieve very much, but they may be surprised at your ability to bounce back or find a better way forward. Hello, Swapnil, how are you doing? Hello, Beer Gut, how are you? Hello, Vicky. I hope you're having a good day. This is the Voyage of the Soul. Hello, Asha. How are you doing? Hey, Andrea. Yup. Happy Friday. Hello, Kasum. How are you doing? Life is now. There's a sense of, I don't really want to like just wait around and do nothing. I don't want to have nothing to show for what I've been working on the last several weeks, several months, several years. And we also have some karma coming through. So I feel like this is good karma because we have the graduation day card. Someone who's able to say, I did this, I learned that lesson, I moved on from that, and now here's what I'm working on. Hello, Siendo. ¿Cómo está? Hello, Rahim. How are you doing? Gracias por dejar like. Hello, Rayu. How are you doing? These are oracle cards. Voyage of the Soul would be the name. So I used this particular oracle deck right now because it does feel like we have somebody that's going through an ego death or a pretty significant change in their life where the long term is the priority. I'm not thinking about short-term gratification. I'm not really prioritizing everybody else's expectations, but I do want to make sure that the choices that I'm making are things that create a better life for me in several weeks or several years. Even though you may have been seen as somebody who was a bit of a partier or who just did what you wanted to do, now you're being seen, or you will be, as somebody who's put a lot of thought into your future. I do feel like part of the reason you may be seen as the black sheep of the family is how you process emotion, your ability to forgive, and how other people approach things like forgiveness or communication. So I guess that's kind of a nice way of me saying there could be some people who view you as the black sheep because at one point you were a doormat or a people pleaser, and then you changed that, and somebody here is like, you're supposed to just put up with the disrespect that I give you because we're related. I thought that was, like, I thought you knew that. And you may have said, no. Or you may have been a little bit more independent when they wanted to guide you on the major life choices you were making. Hello, John. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing? Yep. This is the Soul Cat Tarot. Wow. 4 of Wands, 6 of Cups, and the Star. Whoever I'm reading for, you have definitely been working on your healing. Doesn't mean like you're done, you don't have to do anything else. No, there's almost always something that we can be working on. This is saying that you are leveling up. You may see things change for you with regards to your finances. You may feel like things are easier for you in your love life. You may feel like it's becoming more comfortable for you to identify what kind of people you want in your inner circle or who you can trust. Just feels like things are less difficult. And it's because of how you're approaching things. Knight of Wands. There's that fast-moving energy that we had with that 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords, and the 5 of Pentacles. So I do feel like in the past there's been some issues here with motivation, making sure that you were tackling the things that were on the to-do list in a reasonable time frame. There may have been some reason here that you felt like your hands were tied or you weren't able to address the problems in your life. But I think you've learned a lot in this time that feels a little bit lonely, a little bit quiet, a little bit frustrating. You can't really know what you're made of until you have a serious argument, falling out, sense of loss. So those things can make you stronger, and I feel like they have made you stronger. Hello, Salvador. How are you doing? Hey, George. How are you? Thank you for the tip. What will I achieve in the near future? What a great question. So George, I think you've been here before, but just to make sure, I start those personal questions at around 30 minutes in or after the general reading. You are the first one on the list though. What will I achieve in the near future? All right, I've got that written down for you. Hello, Elias, how are you doing? Hello, Katarzyna, how are you doing? The Hierophant. I love this. I mean, I enjoy art that involves cats pretty much all the time, but the way this cat is using one eye to look, it's a focus, right? Maybe you don't follow all of the rules that your family would like you to follow. Maybe you're not living the life that they had envisioned for you. But I feel like when you move forward with the next several weeks, little by little, people are going to understand why you chose the path that you did. Admire how you were able to recover after some difficulty. And I think even for some, acknowledge that they may have been unfair as far as how they approached the relationship with you, platonic, family, or romantic. That sounds good, George. Hello, Carolyn. How are you doing? Hello. Is it Dia? Or Diana? Sorry if I say your name wrong. Hello, Abdul. How are you doing? All right, so here we have another 8 with the 8 of Cups. The 4 of Swords is in the reverse. Again, I believe we had that at the beginning. Yeah, up here. This is saying that maybe it wasn't easy. Maybe it was something that took a little bit longer than it should have. But you acknowledged that there was something you needed to walk away from. This could be a negative influence like a close friend, or maybe going no contact with a family member, breaking up with somebody. You had to walk away. And I feel like it's for more than one thing or more than one person. Let's be real, when you're going through an ego death or a spiritual awakening, you get real skilled at, seems like the wrong phrase. You get a lot of practice with communicating boundaries, declining or ending connections, because you have to be able to, I guess I could say, keep your side of the street clean. When you allow that negative, toxic energy into your sphere, it influences or impacts your progression, right? Your ability to take the energy or the magic that you have within you to create or make things happen for yourself. If you're dealing with someone who's really negative or blaming you for something all the time, or maybe they need to borrow money all the time, maybe they just make you feel small, that's going to make it take a lot longer for you to achieve the things that you were meant to achieve in your life, which is one of the reasons why it's important to get away from that. It's kind of like hanging out with toxic people. If you were a microwave, those toxic people put you on like power level 7 instead of 10, right? If you want a normal functioning microwave power level, you have to get away from the toxic folk. Hello, Hardy. How are you doing? Hey, Carolyn. I hope you're not trying to be a little bit snippy with me. I do personal questions after the general reading. I do announce that throughout the first 30 minutes, so I'm sorry if that missed you, but I can't read every comment as I'm doing the general. Hello, Marianne. How are you doing? Hello, Dylan. Nice try. Hello, Matt. How are you? All right. We've got the 9 of Wands and we've got the 10 of Pentacles, but the 10 of Pentacles is in the reverse. So I do think that this is people looking at you and expecting Maybe it's at holidays, you know, you're seeing your family and they expect to hear a not so great update, or they don't expect you to have graduated from school or gotten a promotion at work. They're going to be a little bit surprised with what you've been able to do. Hello, Joelle. How are you doing today? How will my financial and love life be next year? Thank you for the tip. Financial, love, next year. I have got that written down for you. Hello, it's your girl. How you doing? Hello, Lane. How are you doing today? Harvey, I'm going to encourage you to try that one again. I just put you in a little baby timeout. Let's be a little bit more respectful than that, okay? Oh, I hope that went well for you. Hello, Con. How you doing? We've got Justice in the reverse and the Queen of Swords. There's something that, you know, family or friends, or maybe even people at work seem to assume that they have over you. Like, I'm smarter than you, or I have a better living situation than you, or I have a better relationship. Our parents like me better. There's something here where somebody feels like I'm better. And when they get some sort of an update or communicate and hear your good news, there's this like kind of frosty reception of it. Someone who doesn't seem to want to celebrate because they like that difference between the two of you and feeling like they're seen as more successful. So they start to feel a little bit threatened by this. Hello, Ronaldo. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Joe. All right, let's get some more from... This is the newest tarot deck. Thank you to the anonymous donator. It's called the Graffiti Tarot. Let's see what else we've got. Seven of Swords in the reverse. King of Wands in the reverse. Six of Cups. And the Eight of Cups. So, this is kind of awesome. Yes, I know the King of Wands is in the reverse. I do think this is referring to somebody who had a lack of motivation. Maybe it was difficult to get to work on time. Maybe it was difficult to keep a job. Maybe it's taken a long time to find a job. Maybe it's just been, you know, I really need to get everything figured out as far as my living situation, or find a way to apply for that educational program. But I feel like this is somebody who's finally feeling the positive consequences or like outcomes of their actions that they knew were probably going to take a little bit longer to come to fruition. It's like, yes, this is going to be a little bit frustrating or disruptive initially. Cutting off a friend who I can't trust, or finding a new job because the current one doesn't really support my desired lifestyle, you know, like waking up earlier and spending less money on going out. Whatever it is, I'm proud of you, because this is saying you walked away from those things and you thought about what your priorities were. Even if there are habits that people feel like you would struggle to walk away from, or if there's just this expectation because you've always been the troublemaker, there's this, it's like, it's a new me. People are seeing that you are much more capable than they gave you credit for. Hello again, Rachel. Hello again, April. What's going on? We are only 20 minutes in. Hello. My Rathisha, how are you doing? Oh, is it Ratish or Rathish? You guys, yeah, you both got here about the same time. So we have the Magician and the World. Oh, I love these cards. Aren't they cool? The Magician is all about your capability, your power, your magic. Maybe it was a little bit dulled. Maybe there were so many things going on that it was difficult for you to just be yourself or to pursue the things that were important to you. But I feel like there is this re-energizing happening, or, you know what, I can totally make this happen, or this is something that I could check off the list, and incremental progress is still progress, but I'm proud of you. You're taking assessment, right, of what you've got available to you. You're considering the options. The strategy is being followed by action. So the universe is like, hey, we want to like make sure you know we're proud of you. Hey, Marks, happy to address a more mature greeting, perhaps. Hello, Rotten, how are you doing? Yes, exactly. We've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Hermit in the reverse, and the Five of Cups in the reverse. This individual who seems to like to compare themselves to you to feel better about themselves, it's like you've lapped them or you have passed them as far as spiritual growth or personal accountability. You may have been the turtle or the hare in that fabled race in between the hare and the turtle. In other words, people felt like maybe you would never get there. People thought maybe you would never really achieve the things that other people would. People may have assumed a sibling or a friend of yours, or maybe even a spouse of yours, was the one that would, you know, have the accomplishments or make things happen or do what was expected of them. Thank you for clarifying that, Rachel. I really like this new deck. King of Cups in the reverse. Here's the King of Cups. So there's someone here who's not willing to celebrate that you have made some improvements in your life. They may be a little bit critical of the change in address or the new job, sound a little doubtful as to whether or not you could follow through. The problem here is it's like they're ignoring the information that you've actually shared because it's such a habit for them to not expect you to do well, right? Oh, thank you. Well, I'm sorry to say that the username comes through as userzm, but it does say PJ in the profile, so I will say thank you, PJ. Let me know if you want me to pull a few cards for you. It's a spooky Judgment card though, isn't it? Almost looks like Justice because we have the scales there, but we have to remember that Judgment, it's a card that can talk about something that comes back after everybody thought that was done. Literally, most depictions of the Judgment card will have people who are rising up from graves. So there are people who pretty much considered that you were down for the count or expected that you weren't going to make much of yourself. And here now you're coming through and you're like, actually, I wasn't done yet. I'm the magician. I was just taking my time, you know, little intermission. But now I'm on a mission. People are impressed because they didn't think you were going to turn it around. They didn't think you were going to find the right path. Yeah, let me know, PJ, if you have a question or if you just want me to pull some cards for you. I'm happy to just do like a wild card reading where you don't have like a specific question. So we have the Ace of Swords. I love this card. It's like obviously just a tree, but it turns into the sword. Makes me feel like there's someone who is related, like a family tree, right? I think we have folks having to update their perspective or realizing that maybe they were overly concerned, maybe they were overly judgmental of you, maybe some of them didn't expect that you had it in you, but you've made some changes, some very positive changes. So I do think there's going to be some supportive energy here. There are people who are going to be rooting for you, right? Sounds good, PJ. PJ, you are after George and Joao, and I will start that in the next 10 minutes, okay? Hello, Chris. How are you doing? Hello, Sanjar. How are you doing? We have the Page of Pentacles and the Tower. New beginning that shocks people. I think this is, it's coming through as like a board game where somebody who was pretty much feeling like there was no way they were going to win, but by some miracle they're able to, you know, double or triple their success. And then all of a sudden the one who was bragging about easily being able to win is concerned or like sweating because that person who is in last place is now biting at their heels. So I think we have someone who's a bit threatened or frustrated because in the family, they liked how they compared next to you because they felt like you were never going to go anywhere. Now that you have like leapfrogged over some individuals or have been able to rack up several achievements, this person that you're related to is just kind of like unimpressed or irritated. Like, I guess I have to do something now. I guess I have to prove that I'm smart or make you look bad. Something like that. Reggie, that is not what I do. Hello, Miriam. How are you doing? Hey, Grindhard. What's happening? So we have stress and ecstasy, chasing thrills, excitement, and good time. Yeah. We expect to hear, this is like family, right? Or maybe it's friends. Anytime we get an update, it's just like, here's some drama, here's some things that aren't going very well. We expect you to be like the partier or the person who shows up late, or, you know, maybe your car is falling apart. This is a little judgy, right? They just kind of feel like you're the one who doesn't get it. And then you show up, you share some good news. They find out that you've been really focused on the things that improve your situation. Some of them are happy and they're going to celebrate with you, and others are going to be overly critical. But don't let that kill your buzz, right? Hello, Harvey. How are you doing? I'm glad to hear that, Miriam. So we have apology. I do think there's someone who is going to apologize for the way that they have treated you, or maybe you overheard them say something that was a bit insulting. But there are people who are having to update their definition of you in their mind. I always looked at you as the one who wasn't quite getting it, or, you know, fell a little bit short, didn't pay off, you know, what they needed to, or didn't finish school, kept getting fired. Whatever they expect as far as failure, they're starting to acknowledge that it's hurtful for them to get to that point where they just expect that negative stuff from you. So flipping to the other side and becoming like a cheerleader for you and encouraging you to pursue these things, I do see that in addition to the person who is overly critical. So breathe in, you know, the congratulations, enjoy the hugs if that's what you do. But the individuals who struggle because they don't want to see you doing well, don't give them the power of ruining your day. You have this, let's call it a limited power or control over your mood or your mindset for the day. Little things that we do, making jokes, hugging, listening to your favorite songs, dancing, they can all influence your mood, right? When you acknowledge that you have that power, you have an ability to stop giving it away to people so that they don't have rights to ruining your day just because they say something a little bit ridiculous. That's all right. You want to say that? I don't know what you got going on, but I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to let that like ruin everything, right? All right, this is the Path of Shadows. I'll pull a few from this, and then we're going to start on those personal questions, okay, y'all? Thank you, DC. What's happening? Hello, lol. What's up? We have overthinking, each thought a labyrinth, endless, obscure. There is no peace amidst this self-imposed torture. Evil Queen, where love eludes, fear becomes my throne. What would a rose be without its thorns? I do feel this is the family member that is a bit harsh on you, someone who likes to look down their nose and feel like they're better than you or feel like they've achieved more, feel like they're the favorite. It's definitely a comparative or, you know, like this is me versus you. Werewolf, only the moon knows what it takes to hide this turmoil. Two sides of the same tormented soul. This is another reason why I feel like we have some family relation here. Like this could be the two sides of the same tormented soul could be two children who have struggled with the same, you know, upbringing. Maybe they've had some difficulties with a mother or a father or an aunt or a grandparent. But it's like we were raised in the same type of environment and handled those pressures very differently. Hello, Michelle. How's it going? Hello, Trevino. Hello, Lorraine. How are you doing? So we've got Raven, knowledge, death, and energies. Sometimes people will be very clear with you that they don't expect much from you. Sometimes people will even tell you they don't think you're going to be capable of change. We have to be aware of how much other people should influence what we believe about ourselves and what we believe is like a possibility or an opportunity. A lot of times people will tell you you can't do something when it's really they don't feel like they can do it. So make sure that's not something that delays your path. Thank you for the tip, Aqua Beauty. What do I need to focus on? I got you. Hello, Laura. How are you doing today? So don't allow others to tell you if you're able to change. Don't rely on others to be your cue to change. You can feel when there are things that need to be reorganized or reprioritized. You can feel when somebody is not being genuine. You just have to make sure you're tuned into that intuition, right? All right, let's get on those personal questions. Aw, it happens, Laura. Thank you. I appreciate that. Aqua Beauty, if you have a second question, put it in the user or in the live chat. Because of the 4-year anniversary of my channel, for moderators, I want to do a personal question and say thank you, because you all really do make it possible. And Rachel, you know you got one on hold or reserve if you decide to use it. Hello, Cedric. How are you doing? Hello, Peter. Hello, Sweet Tooth. All right, so we have George up first. What will I achieve in the near future? What will George achieve in the near future? We have the Ten of Swords in the reverse, 5 of Cups in the reverse, and the 3 of Wands. This is talking about acceptance or recovery after an ending. It's like, yeah, I understand that that's not how I wanted it to go, but I can work with this, or I can still make something happen. I can still be happy. So this looks like forgiveness, acceptance, or identifying a different way forward. Being comfortable with that, right? Anything else? Yeah, I do feel like you have some choice approaching you with the 7 of Cups. You might have multiple choices, and it's important for you to have gotten this forgiveness or acceptance figured out before that choice. So timeline-wise, you're doing very well, but you do have a very important choice. So make sure you take the time with it that you need. All right, let me write these down. We've got grind hard. Why does Wifey Micah test patience? It happens. Why do you feel her energy now? Why does she get moody with you? And I'm going to write it as, does she want to get physical? We know what that means. And thank you again for the tip, grind hard. I appreciate you. Hello, Lorraine. Thank you for tipping. Please let me know if you'd like me to just pull a few cards for you, or if you have a specific question. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I should have read a few more. What's coming towards me, please? I got you. And thank you, Lorraine. Hello, Prabhas. How are you doing? Hello, Sherry. How are you doing? Hello, Melissa. Oops. All right, let me focus on the question here. George, I wish you luck in that. We've got Joao up next. After Joao, it would be PJ, then Aqua Beauty, then Grind Hard, then Lorraine. So for Joao, we've got, how will the financial side of things look next year? Seems to be some release of stress or anxiety, so things are easier, but perhaps a little bit more variable. I'm trying to think of how to explain it. So if things were down here, but you know, financially it was kind of difficult to have the discretionary funds that you wanted, it's going to be like a greater take home per month, but it's not necessarily going to be 100% predictable. It's something like, it's still good to set aside some money and have a savings account. It's still good to be a little bit cautious, but you won't have to feel like super micromanaging about it, right? Perfect. So we have Death and the World. There is something here that's going to change rather dramatically for you. It could be like someone buying the company, so there's a change in overall leadership. There could be some regulations or laws that change, and this could potentially cause you to look at whether or not there's a different way for you to do what you do or a different part of the industry that you want to be working with. So at this time, I really recommend, as far as your finances or career, at least being aware of a couple other titles or paths that might make sense for you that are related to, just in case there's something that makes it seem like that would be a better fit for you. Let's take a look at your love life next. Ooh. And what do we have for Joao for love life, please? Two of Cups. Knight of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. I do see there being a relationship next year, a partnership, and it takes a little bit longer than you would like. This is like when you go to the 24-hour photo booth and it actually took 48 hours. You might expect things to happen next week or next month or, you know, by Valentine's Day or whatever. This is saying things are going to be a little bit more slower paced than you probably want, but it's headed in the right direction. Yep, exactly. Little traveling, absolutely. Two of Wands, this is somebody who's making plans. I do think you'll be traveling. I do feel like there is a lighter mood between the two of you. Things don't seem as challenging. There's someone here who has let go, maybe forgiven someone from their past. With this Four of Swords, it's easier to connect, right? Ah, that sounds awesome. Hello, Monica. How are you doing? Hello, Shane. I hope you're having a good day. All right, let's see what we've got for PJ. This is the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate to me, Joe. I love it. What do we have for PJ? We have the Three of Wands in the reverse, the Page of Wands, the Hanged Man in the reverse. See, the Page of Wands is a card that can often talk about good news, but with this particular deck, we have like a little demon dude chasing the page. It's kind of looking to me like we have some unexpected information or an unexpected event happening, and it makes you question whether or not you have the actual, like, accurate perspective or perception of a person. So you might get a little bit hesitant. You might pull back a little bit. Six of Cups, Four of Wands in the reverse. You might be like, I thought that this was going to be, you know, like we're best friends or we're going to get married. But the Four of Wands is in the reverse. There's instability here. This is like somebody showing you, like, the mask falls a little bit and you're like, oh, okay, so that's a problem. Hello, H, how are you doing? Hello, Parvender, how are you doing? Thank you, Joao, you're awesome. Hello, Survives. What's going on? Anything else for PJ, please? Just be cautious, because it feels to me like your intuition is telling you that somebody is lying to you. Somebody's not representing the actual sentiments or reality of the situation. And with the Two of Pentacles, I think you know it. I think you know that they're talking weird, or, you know, their eye contact is off, or their body language is different. I think you pick up on the fact that this person is lying to you. So trust your gut on that one. All right. Let's move on to Aqua Beauty. We've got, what do I need to focus on? And then did we have a second one come through for her? Any advice on the recent defamation? I got you, girl. All right, so what does Aqua Beauty need to focus on? 3 of Pentacles, stability and work. 2 of Cups in the reverse, not romance. So it's all about the Benjamins, basically. All about the, you know, building blocks, what's happening next year, what's happening 2 years from now. What do I need to learn? What do I need to change? We have the 9 of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. This is like... this is like when you're running a little bit faster in order to get something started. So it feels initially like there's not really much progress until you look back and you see where you started. So just allow for, you know, a decent amount of productivity before you judge yourself too much on what you've been able to accomplish, because I do see accomplishments coming forward. But yes, absolutely work. I do feel like outdoor work is coming through, so things that you're able to do outside, or maybe even to some extent some traveling. Hello Serge, how are you doing? Hello ABN. Hello T, what's up? Hello Asep, how are you doing? All right, and what advice do we have for Aqua Beauty on the recent defamation? King of Swords, 8 of Pentacles, the High Priestess. Documentation. Very focused on what he's writing here. So this could be about what documentation you have or what documentation you could create. With the King of Swords, we have somebody in this situation who is extremely like by the book or like rigid when it comes to process. So, ooh, crap. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk through that. Sorry guys, you know, holiday weekend and whatnot. With the High Priestess, I do feel like there's a little bit of secrecy here that may be difficult. That's funny. All right. I hope that helps, Aqua Beauty, and thank you for being a moderator. Grind hard. We've got, why is Micah testing my patience? We've got the King of Wands in the reverse, the Lovers in the reverse. I think she's angry about something. It looks to me like she thought you were going to do something or say something and you didn't. But she might be a little bit overreacting here. I kind of feel like there is some miscommunication. So I think maybe give a little bit of time for someone to cool off and then see if we can reattempt the understanding where somebody's coming from, right? Oh, please, let's keep things in English or Spanish. Español está bien también. Why is Grindhard feeling her energy right now? Star in the reverse and the Emperor. There's a little bit of a wound here. Something has made her upset, and I do feel like it's causing conflicting emotions. Like, I want a hug, but I also want to push you away. So this not really understanding what I want to do with this situation is causing frustration for her, right? Hello, how's it going, Lotus? Hello, Arvind, what's going on? We've got, why is she getting moody with him? 8 of Swords in the reverse and Judgment. I do think that there is something here where with like the the walls coming down or somebody being a little bit more accessible to you, it means you get the good and the bad, right? I'm gonna be more authentic with you when it's, you know, I'm feeling like lovey-dovey, but also I'm gonna be more open with you if I get frustrated. So you might see that there's a little bit more freedom, and if you irritate me, this is something I don't like, right? Does she want to get physical with Grind Hard? Yes, indeedy. We've got the Knight of Cups, romantic, dreamy, and fantasy type card, and the Moon. But she does feel like she has to be a little bit coy about this, or not super open with that. She's hiding a little bit of that, right? And then we've got Lorraine. What's coming towards Lorraine, please? You know we wish you well. We're rooting for you, Grind Hard. What's coming for Lorraine, please? We have Judgment in the reverse, the Moon, and the Four of Swords in the reverse. I do feel like you have some sort of gravitational pull here, so you may be manifesting something in. But with Judgment in the reverse and Four of Swords in the reverse, I feel like it's the wrong thing. Tell me more about this. This is like you need to clarify, maybe even speak verbally about what it is that you want, or what it is that your desired outcome is. It's like you place an order in a restaurant, but you whisper or mumble, and then they don't get the right order. So you might need to do some actual like speaking into existence what it is that you want, or write it down. With the Hanged Man and the World in the reverse, this is telling me that you're like really close to like closing out a chapter. The thing is, it is requiring you to make sure that you complete that transformation, whatever that might be. Quitting partying, changing a job, moving to a different location, ending a relationship, starting back up with a hobby, starting a side hustle. There's something here where it's like you've got like 90% of it done, but there's still a little bit left. It could be forgiveness, it could be reconnecting with somebody. But yes, you're very close. You need to be very clear on what you want, and then make sure that you have crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. Oh, I'm sorry that you don't like it, Noodle. There are plenty of people in the live chat who've gotten personal readings from me that are more in depth, but that's okay. I still wish you a great day. I do think that was the last one on my list, though, so I will see you on the next reading. Thank you, everyone, for the likes and the subscribes. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Hello, Ray. And I'll see you in the next reading. Toodles.